introduction. So we know these people because they delivered part one of this same topic a few months ago. And also I think they already did a special presentation for teachers, people leaving the field of education and moving on to something in the for-profit area, because both of these women were teachers. That's how they met each other. They formed a friendship. And now they have, although they have a regular job for a for-profit company, Epicor, in Austin, they also co-founded their own company, which is CoLabX. And they might explain what that is a little bit. So we have Lisa Bounds and Ellen Cox. Lisa at Epicor is a principal product marketing manager. And Ellen, also at Epicor, is a senior product marketing manager. So very similar. I don't know which one is higher in the hierarchy, but they're both very smart ladies. And so this is actually a three-part series. So we're going to be able to hear from them. Again, this is part two, and it's on AI and the job search. And this part is supercharge your job search with AI. Build, optimize, and own your own story. And it says in this hands-on session, so be prepared to turn your camera on and participate. Learn how to use AI to sharpen your resume, refresh your LinkedIn profile, and craft bold outreach messages. You're going to walk away from this presentation with smarter prompts and real tools to boost your job search fast. Lisa is a product marketing leader and communication strategist with deep experience spanning corporate tech, education, and startup innovation. Currently, principal product marketing manager at Epicor, she's known for crafting clear, compelling narratives that drive growth and engagement. She has led global product launches at Dell, driven messaging innovation in emerging tech, and co-founded CoLabX, a collective that helps professionals navigate career transitions with clarity and confidence. Her approach blends analytical rigor with human-centered insight, all in service of strategy that moves people forward. And that is right up your alleys, all of your alleys. Ellen Cox is a senior AI product marketer and co-founder of CoLabX, a collective focused on helping professionals navigate career transition with clarity and creativity. They both have the same mission. At Epicor, she leads AI marketing strategy across global product lines. She's passionate about making complex tech, like artificial intelligence, more accessible and actionable for job seekers. With past roles at X2, Pontera, and Dun & Bradstreet, she brings deep experience in digital strategy, content innovation, and cross-functional leadership. A former educator, she is known for her clear communication, approachable style, and commitment to helping others grow. We are so honored and fortunate to have both of these women in our midst. Please give a warm welcome to Lisa and Ellen. Yay.
Awesome. Thank you, Kathy. And thank you. I know a number of you probably were here at our last session that we led. We're super excited to be back. And yeah, we'll go ahead and kick off. You should be able to see my screen. We're going to be going back and forth because we're actually going to be doing some kind of demoing, working with ChatGPT today, and we'll do some hands-on components, assuming we have time. So yeah, we'll just start diving in. So as we mentioned, this is session 2. We previously within session 1 really had focused on kind of building out a co-pilot or assistant within AI. We demoed specifically how to do that for ChatGPT. So we're going to go and kind of build on that today on how to actually use AI to optimize kind of digital presence and outreach. We started to touch on some of this in the last session. Specifically, I think we spent a little bit of time with resumes, but we're going to go a little bit deeper today. So as mentioned, I am Ellen. I know Lisa is also on the line. We already shared introductions, so we won't spend a ton of time there. What we're going to be doing, as I mentioned, just focusing on that optimizing for digital presence. So specifically today, we'll kind of talk about resume glow ups and using AI to analyze and upgrade your resume against specific job descriptions or posts that you are applying for. We'll also talk about just how to kind of polish your LinkedIn profiles. Specifically, we'll focus on headlines and summaries, but you can also use it even for optimizing some of the language you're using within your job descriptions. And then we'll also just get into outreach scripts. So as Lisa and I were previously both in kind of job search mode, we were actually using AI to kind of help with optimizing some of those outreach sequences. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. We'll share some prompts and we can kind of get hands-on in the process. So what that looks like in terms of agenda, we'll first just start on the resume side of things. We'll go into the LinkedIn piece. We'll get into that outreach, and specifically we kind of describe it as outreach without the cringe. I think that's a space in particular where we'll find, like, just in talking with people, there's been a lot of discomfort and how AI can really help with that, in particular with kind of helping craft messages that feel authentic. And then we'll get into questions at the end, but also feel free to stop us at any point during the presentation if you have questions. And then we'll leave a little bit of time at the end to share a survey if you have time to give us feedback, and how you can connect with us if you're interested in connecting. So I'll go ahead and turn it over to Lisa, who's going to talk a little bit more just around using AI to optimize resumes.
Wonderful. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. And if for some reason my internet gets funky, Ellen, let me know, because, my computer is a little weird today. Okay, so we are going to talk about how to get your resume to work with AI and to kind of have a little bit more muscle to it and to do a little bit more with you. And there are a lot of great ways that you can get your resume to bulk up, so to speak. So let's go to that next slide. Perfect. So the first thing we're going to do is one of my favorite prompts, which is the Am I a Fit prompt. And if I can, Ellen, I'm going to go ahead and steal screen from you so that I can go ahead and get into the nitty gritty. All right, so if you guys see my screen, you should probably see yourselves back. Did it share? Yes.
It's sharing. Yeah, we can see
Perfect.
it.
Perfect. Okay, good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my screen here. And the first thing I'm going to do is, before we, pop in a resume, we need to first find a job. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to look for a senior product marketing role. And one of the things that you will find is, if you go to LinkedIn, go up here. I know everybody knows about the jobs, but this is actually a cool thing you can do too. Click on posts. And then you can see like actual live people, and this will come into play later when we start looking at reaching out to people. And you can go ahead and click like in the past week, and then you can kind of see like real things people are posting. So like right.
Is it cutting out for other folks?
The top, I already see a remote role that I could reach out. So I might want to look at that and see, is it cutting out, Ellen?
Yeah, it's cutting out just
let me try switching rooms. Let me move locations. So sorry.
We've all been there.
We are going to move. Yes. We're going to change locations, and hopefully that will work better. I think it's because someone else in the house is also using the phone on the computer. So hopefully this will work. Can you hear me better now?
So far.
Okay, good. Here we go. Okay, can you see the LinkedIn screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So we have found a role here, and I kind of pre-screened this. I didn't see anything on it off the bat that said, U.S. candidates were blocked from it. So great, wonderful. I'm going to go ahead and go here to ChatGPT, and I'm going to use my Am I a Fit prompt. Now, last time we showed you how to use this in your, build an AI assistant. And so if I had my AI assistant, I could just go in, drop the role and say, hey, am I a fit for this role? Because on the back end, I built my resume, I built all these things for it to know me. But we also can do this even if you don't have the AI assistant set up. So I'm going to show you
Hey,
that
Lisa,
approach.
could I ask you a question real quick? I'm sorry to butt in, but
Sure.
LinkedIn also has the Am I a Fit? So why
They
would you
do.
use ChatGPT versus LinkedIn? My
I
question.
do because I have found that LinkedIn is not as strong. And I have found that it's not always super accurate. It's okay, but I found it where it says sometimes I'm a fit for things that I'm definitely not a fit for. So I don't think that it's as accurate. Um, yeah, because I've had LinkedIn tell me I'm an excellent fit for things that literally I have no experience with whatsoever. I don't know what it is about LinkedIn. I don't know why that is, but this is why I use that approach. But that's a good question, and I'm glad you asked that.
And I would also just jump in and add with that. You can ask ChatGPT, and Lisa, you might be about to do this. I know it was on
Yes.
the prompt that we had on that presentation slide. You can also ask ChatGPT to actually act as the ATS,
Yes,
applicant
that's
tracking system.
exactly what I'm
So
about to do.
it's going to do a better job than LinkedIn of reviewing as if it's the actual system where you're going to be submitting your materials to. So it gets a little bit more specific than LinkedIn, which is just going based on like a profile or what you've been clicking on recently.
Yeah. And so that's actually what we're about to do right now. So the prompt that I'm putting in here is I'm telling it to act as an applicant tracking system or an ATS. And based on the job description, I'm going to paste below, review my resume and give me an estimated match score from 0 to 100. Then identify key marketing and industry specific terms that are missed or underused, opportunities to better align my language with the role's requirements, and 3 to 5 resume bullet edits or rewrites that would improve my ATS match rate. So then with that, I'll go ahead and pop on over here and I will pick up that job. And I highly recommend that you always copy and paste the job. Don't give it just a link because what I have found is that sometimes it hits paywalls or it just hits a wall. And so it's always better to just drop in the copy. And that is what I've found. And it looks weird because it's just going to be a big bunch of gobbledygook, but it understands it. And then from there, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to attach my resume. And I have that all ready to go. And there's my resume. So I'll pop that in. And then I say go. So it tells me that right now I'm an 83 out of 100. Now, to be perfectly honest, for me, if I'm an 80% or above, a lot of times I may not even make any adjustments. I may go, you know what, that's good enough for me. And I'll go ahead and submit with 80% or above. But if it's a role I'm really, really excited about, very passionate about, I will go through and I'll look to see, okay, where can I put in and make some adjustments? Okay. So right off the bat, I see something funky. It's telling me healthcare tech, digital tech, EHR, EMR, and it says no direct healthcare technology industry terms used except tangentially at Lightforce, which was a med tech startup. So I'm like, okay, so I may be able to go in and finesse that a little bit. Customer success enablement, practitioner engagement. Okay, well, I can totally go in. I have sales enablement, but I can make that more specific to customer success enablement to fit more of their target audience. So that's an easy fix for me. And just by making those couple of adjustments, I am likely going to bump my score up. And that's going to be a great improvement for me. So I can go ahead and make those changes. And then what I would do from there, and because I don't have the Word doc saved on this computer, I may not do it live for you here, but I would go and make these changes and then I would paste it in or I would upload the revised resume and I would say, hey, I revised my resume. What do I score now? And it would go ahead and it would tell me the new ATS score. And so that's how I make my determinations. And then it also gave me some other bullets it recommends rewriting. And so it said I had orchestrated a go to market strategy for transitioning products from beta to general release, da da da. It's saying change it to led go to market strategy for medtech SaaS product, aligning product sales, customer success. So it's probably feeling like led is a little bit simpler versus orchestrated. I would probably go back and look to see how many times I've already used lead and then decide from there. And that has to kind of be a choice because you don't want to be super repetitive in your resume either. And that may be why I had a different verb there. But one of the things I like is it is being a little bit more detailed here, like especially on the second one. It's telling me, hey, here you've got this, and here you could be a lot more detailed. So I like that. And I would probably change that one. So you don't have to take it verbatim. You don't have to always do whatever it says, but there's a couple of suggestions here that I think are good and could be good for me, especially this customer success enablement one, because that really does fit what I was doing at Lightforce. And it sounds like it would make me a better match for this role at the Jane Company. So that would definitely be one that I would go ahead and make that switch. And so, Ellen, I will go ahead and hand that back over to you because I am trying to find you guys and I am lost. There you are. Oh, Ellen, you're on mute.
Awesome. I said I'm resharing that the slide deck. So Lisa, I know you just touched base on this
Yes.
around the keyword maps, the bullet rewrites, match score. The next thing we're going to start to dive into is getting into just LinkedIn glow up. So focusing on some of those elements that might help you turn up in results if a recruiter is searching for something like potential candidates, if they're proactively looking for folks, or if you've applied for a role, let's say you've gone through the process Lisa just shared, you submit an application for something, and you want to make sure that your profile is optimized for some of the target roles that you are prioritizing or hoping to land. Really making sure that you kind of got your language on your LinkedIn profile aligned with the goals that you have from a professional standpoint. So what we're going to talk about is in particular transforming things like LinkedIn headlines. So have a little bit of a cheesy example here, but really making sure that you're kind of focusing within on kind of the value and some of the key experience that you've got. So I'm going to go ahead and pivot here as well. I'm going to exit out of this and we'll go to ChatGPT and just start to get hands on. Let me get it. I'm going to stop sharing real quick to pull this open, and I'll pull my LinkedIn profile up as well. And I have an obscene amount of tabs open. This is the normal for me on my computer, so please don't judge.
No judgment.
Sure
no judgment. I tried to close some, but I feel you.
Okay. So I've got ChatGPT open. Let's say I wanted to go in and I'm looking to optimize components of my LinkedIn profile. I could go ahead and go in here. So when we talk about the headline on a LinkedIn profile, that's actually this portion right here that goes under your name. What you're really wanting to make sure that you're focusing on is trying to hit some of the keywords that might turn up for folks who are looking for people that are either qualified for certain types of jobs that you are targeting, or even if you wanted to optimize for a specific role that you have recently applied for. So before I start demoing doing some of this within AI, I can show you, I have kind of a broad background that I guess some people would describe as a little bit more of like a generalist type background in terms of digital marketing. When I was in the process of applying for jobs in this most recent space, I was really kind of broadly looking for anything within product marketing space, but I also had experience within web or even backgrounds working on product specific efforts. So a lot of what I ended up doing was kind of trying to cast a wide net in terms of just highlighting that breadth of experience. I was applying for anything from like director of digital marketing roles to product marketing roles, etc. So really kind of tried to key in on that. Look, I've got experience high level just in marketing and product, in particular, really within web and product strategy space. And then kind of going in further beyond that around like just marketing communications, experience within AI. I've had experience automating AI and other marketing processes. And then again, just that cross-functional leadership. So if we think in the context of what we were chatting about with that prompt that I was just sharing, and I'm going to go back to that. we could lift something like this and pull it into LinkedIn. And I'm going to pretend right now that maybe I'm looking to completely make a different career pivot. So I'm going to drop that into my LinkedIn, and I could say create 3 headline options for someone pivoting from, let's say I'm currently in product marketing, to, let's say I wanted to go back to teaching. So I'm going to just do something that's like dramatically different. So I might say something of like, I want to go into teaching. And maybe I'm going to be specific. I used to be a middle school teacher, but let's say I wanted to go ahead and say, I'm going to go into high school teaching. We can then say include 3 relevant skills and a unique value proposition. I could go ahead and just run this in general. So I'm actually going to just do it to kind of show you, but I'll also show you how to get more specific even to yourself or your experience. So it's given some initial ideas of for product marketer to purpose-driven educator, empowering students with real-world communication, strategy, and critical thinking skills. So like in these examples, some of what it's doing is starting to look to ways that I can highlight within that headline some of the experience that I bring from my work as a professional into an educational space. You can also see things within here of like, again, touching on some of those same themes, bringing industry experience and empathy to high school classrooms, former product marketing leader, turning insight into impact, etc. Now, let's say I wanted to get these recommendations more tailored to me and my experience. I could do something like either upload my resume within there, or because I want to optimize my existing LinkedIn profile, maybe I go ahead and I just say, hey, here's some of the actual experience that I have. So I'm going to ask it something like, can you So maybe I've gone ahead and said that. I'm going to then, I always have typos when I am sharing. I'm going to go ahead and give it some of that context. So I'll say existing LinkedIn headline, and I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste what I already have. And then I might go ahead and just give it experience because I do have some past experience teaching. So I will say past experience on LinkedIn. And I'm going to go ahead and pull that information in as well. So I'll just go down to this section. Maybe I do all of my past experience, and I'm literally just going to copy and paste what's in here for now. We can always go through and refine, but we'll just drop it in. And similar, I think Lisa used the term gobbledygook going in here. I'm going to go ahead and just drop it in. I'm not worrying about formatting, and I'm going to go ahead and send this through. So now what it's going to do is it's going to take that actual information, and it knows based on some of the goals that it's going to go ahead and start to try to make some additional recommendations. So this might show marketing and product leader, pivoting to education, empowering students with real world. It still feels like it's a lot of more in that pivoting space, maybe not necessarily tapping into, but if I start thinking about this, what I might even be able to do is start to think in this context of like, hey, this first one feels like it could be a good fit in terms of marketing product leader pivoting to education. But maybe since I have past teaching experience, I want to say something like returning to education. So what I could go ahead and even do is call out a follow-up question of like, I have past experience as a teacher. Is it worth calling? Or maybe even I don't even want to ask for the opinion. I just want to go ahead and include it. I can say, can we somehow touch on that in the headline? So maybe now it's going to go ahead and it will make some additional revisions there.
And Ellen, I think one of the really important things to call out right now about the way you're working is you're treating it like a partner. And that's so key. I think that's really important. Like, you don't just accept what it spits out. You go back and forth with it. It's your ideation partner.
Yep. So what I would go ahead, you can see it just gave back some additional examples where it says returning educator and strategic leader. It highlights that I have that ability to bring real world experience into a classroom. This might be helpful depending on the type of job within teaching that I'm targeting. Maybe I'm wanting to teach business classes for high schoolers. Or maybe I'm looking to go into something communication related. Those are things that I could continue to iterate on. And I could even get there faster if I had given it those specific goals in the upfront. I might note something even like the communication expertise, or I could say like educator turned marketing leader pivoting back to teaching. So this one even shows the payoff that students would be getting of equipping students with critical thinking, communication, and real world skills. So speaking to that, I have worked in a corporate environment and I am looking to help equip students with those skills going forward. So this is kind of a little bit of that sense of how you can go ahead and do this within kind of a LinkedIn space to really start to hit further on those keywords, depending on what your goals are. So within there, looking at kind of LinkedIn summaries, we can also, and I'll go back in just a moment to LinkedIn, but really within those summaries, a lot of times you have an ability beyond the headline. And when we talk about summary, that's kind of the explanation at a high level about your experience kind of down below your headline within LinkedIn. You really want to make sure that you're getting into who you are from a professional identity standpoint, what you do. So any type of unique skills or approach that you have, and then why it matters. So that value that you can bring to organizations. So within there, if I go back, same type of thing, maybe let's say that I have decided on one that I've got, let's say it was this one that we wanted to move forward with. I could even tell ChatGPT, like, great, I'm going to move forward with this headline. Now, can you help me revise my LinkedIn summary? And I can even say, so I'm going to go ahead. I'm going back to my LinkedIn profile. I'm going to go back past the experience that I shared. And I'm going to go into this space where I actually have my about summary section right here. Mine is longer than 3 sentences, but it is in 3 sections. And I might go ahead and drop this in. And I'm going to go ahead and send that through and we'll see what it starts to note. So within here, it's starting to draft. It has recommended kind of that 3-paragraph approach where it's noting some of the experience that I have. It's noted some of the past experience as a middle school teacher. It noted even some of the things that I was recognized before. So that starts to tease out some of that experience that's within my profile. And just noting what I've been up to. So within kind of business, innovation, etc., award-winning marketing campaigns. So highlighting some of that experience that I'm coming back to education with renewed sense of a purpose. So a lot of this, what it's doing again, is further giving you those opportunities to hit keywords on LinkedIn, but also to start to explain this maybe before you even get into an interview. It's not to say that necessarily all recruiters are going to take the time to look at this, but if you turned up in search results, you've applied for a position and someone happens to go to your profile, it is now optimized and has some of that initial storytelling that if they were on the fence, they may be more compelled to go ahead and invite you in for an interview because they understand what your goals are based on what you're communicating within LinkedIn. So this is a little bit just in terms of that space. And I'll pause right here before we keep moving to kind of ask if there are any questions within the space of anything that we've covered so far or even for LinkedIn.
2 questions from me.
Yeah.
Okay, first and foremost, Lisa, when you did your resume piece, did you drop in your resume that had all your full contact details or just a version without your contact details, number one? And then number two, Alan, are you using the paid version of ChatGPT or the free version?
Yeah, I'll let Lisa go first.
Yeah. So number one, my resume does have my contact details on it. I am not too worried about that because anything that's on my resume is also on my LinkedIn. And so I don't actually put my home address on my address or on my resume. I just put on a phone number, um, a email, and a city. That's it.
And then to answer that second question around the paid versus free version of ChatGPT, I am using the paid version, but everything that I just demoed can be done on the free version. You can also do similar things if you're using a different AI tool, like let's say you prefer Gemini or what is it, Claude?
Perplexity or
Yeah,
Claude. Yeah.
you can do those on other AI platforms. That's kind of the nice thing of using it within kind of the prompting method of like, and as a partner of kind of the back and forth dialogue, you can do that on any AI platform. I think at this point I've been using ChatGPT for so long that that's the one that I just tend to default to, but have definitely run tests before. I've done some things where I've run the prompt in two versions or two different versions of AI chats to see kind of which one do I feel like is the better option for what I'm trying to do.
Lori's got her hand up.
Right. And this is probably a silly question, Ellen and Lisa, or I guess specifically for Ellen. I saw you're using hashtags. Is that what you need to do for LinkedIn? Like when it's a particular, like here's your summary, so it will understand what
Yes.
you're talking about, or
Yeah. So what I actually do with and I'm gone back, I think hopefully you all still can see. Can you still see the ChatGPT?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So the reason that I do a lot of the hashtags, and I've also done it before where I'll put things, I'm going to do an example here of like past or current resume. Let's say I wanted to like, I've done it that way before as well. Basically what I'm trying to do, anytime I make reference with something, I try to just drop those in so that it's very clear for the chatbot, like where does the new set of information start? I've seen this demoed within other, so I frequently take classes similar to what you all are sitting in on now. I'll find things for free through other platforms, things like that. This is something in the way that LLMs are built. They tend to look for these types of notes, and they're especially helpful. Let's say we were going into a prompt where we were going to give it 5 different things, and we need to make sure that it will know like where does this LinkedIn summary start and end, where does the job description start and end. It's basically just a way to help it avoid confusion and to kind of know specifically in terms of you're setting that up when you drop those things in. So this is an especially helpful tactic if you're dropping in multiple pieces of context or background information.
oh, thank you, Ellen.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other questions?
There was a question in the chat about comparing ChatGPT to Grok.
Yeah,
You have some.
we're not really promoting any AI over any other. We're
Yeah.
very much of the opinion of use whichever one you like the best. Some people really like Copilot, some people really like Grok, some people really like Gemini or Perplexity. Yeah, use whichever one makes you happy.
Yeah,
All of these prompts can be used in any AI you're using.
and I would say building on that, just encouraging, I actually think it is very worthwhile to kind of test different tools out. Lisa and I actually were experimenting with some new tools yesterday that we recently learned about. Like it's always worth getting hands-on because you'll find some tools are better at things than others. So for example, image generation, I tend to actually default to other AI apps if I need to create an image.
Yeah, ChatGPT is not the best for that.
I might go to something like Midjourney or there are free tools out there that can do image generation. So a lot of times just depending on your need. I have found in general, Claude and ChatGPT seem to be pretty good for writing, which is why I tend to default to them for these types of things.
And when it comes to research, Perplexity is actually really good with research.
Yeah.
So different ones are stronger in different areas for different things. It's really good to like test them out against each other, play with different ones, and like we said, see which one you gravitate more to.
Awesome.
We're very much of the test and iterate school of thought.
Yeah, well, and they always shift over time. I think they just announced this week, or there's speculation that OpenAI is going to be releasing a new model in August for ChatGPT. Things are always changing, so it's even worth going back periodically if you've tested one out and you didn't like it, to go back and try it again at some point in the future, because you just never know. They make updates all the time, and sometimes they get better.
Yeah. I've even noticed that Ellen and I have talked about this. Sometimes I'll be working in ChatGPT and it gets really buggy, and I'll get weird hallucinations back, and just like strange things, or the server times out. And it's usually the week of a new ChatGPT release, like 9 times out of 10. So another weird little thing that we've noticed. So weird
Awesome.
stuff.
All right. Any other questions? If not, we'll keep going.
Keep it going.
Cool.
All right.
All right. Lisa, I'll turn it over to
Okay.
you for this next
Yeah.
one.
So this is one of my favorite ones, outreach without the cringe, because this is an area that can really, really, like, to use a very popular cliche, this is an area that can really move the needle. Ellen and I both have had so much success with outreach messages, and specifically using AI to help fine tune them and make them really stand out. So I'm going to go ahead and share screen and show you some of the ways that you can do that and make it very specific to you. Now, um, if you have an AI assistant, then you will already have everything, set up to be, very much your, back end stuff is already created, and, it's unique to you, et cetera, et cetera. But you can still do everything I'm about to show you. We're going to do it as if you don't have an AI assistant set up. So just through prompting. So earlier, if you remember, we found this job at Jane, and we saw that it was posted by Paula. So Paula posted it, which means I could reach out directly to Paula and send her a message that's like, hey, I just applied for this role. I'm super interested. And that is something that probably other people are doing, but I want to make sure I stand out, because other senior product marketing leaders are probably also reaching out to her. So, what makes me unique? I want to make sure that my message is really honing in on how I am, special and different and all that good stuff. So that she also sees the unique value of going to check my application. So, where is my new chat button? There we go. Okay. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up my prompt, and it's so weird because I don't have all my monitors right now. So what we're going to do is we are going to create a compelling message. Oops. Oh my God. Butterfingers. Okay. All right. So here's what my prompt says. I need a compelling LinkedIn direct message to a hiring manager for job title for a senior product marketing manager, typos too, Ellen, role at Jane. The message should have a subject line that highlights my unique strengths in relation to the role, and stands out from generic outreach messages. Lets the hiring manager know that I've applied, quickly communicates why I am an exceptional candidate, going beyond just work experience to show what makes me uniquely suited for this role, references my strengths without specifically mentioning they were identified from a leadership assessment, because I'm really into honing in on like what makes you uniquely stand out. So if you've been on a call with me before, I've told you that when I built my assistant, I put in the Clifton Strength Finder leadership assessment into the background of it. So that's something that I will probably attach. Encourage the hiring manager to view my LinkedIn recommendations for validation. Be concise but impactful, standing out from the flood of messages they're likely receiving. Make it easy for them to reply or take a next step. Avoid dash punctuation. Okay. The reason I put this in here is because while M dashes are also a sign of really good writing, people also now identify them and they look and go, oh, that means AI wrote it. So I don't want them to think that, even if I did do it. So it doesn't mean I didn't put thought into what I'm doing, because clearly I put a lot of thought into it, because I am thinking about how am I unique for this? I really want this. I really care. I built this, entire system so that I can get this role. So To help you tailor this message, here's my resume, a few recommendations, and my leadership assessment highlights. So I'm going to then attach all those files. So I'm attaching my resume. I took all my colleague recommendations from LinkedIn and put them in a file. And then I also got my Strength Finder reports because I really want to hone in on what makes me uniquely a fit. Okay. So I've got all those attached, and then let's see what it does. Well, it's probably going to be like, hey, Lisa, what's the job? Because what did I forget to do? Paste in the job. That would probably be helpful, wouldn't it? Always fun when you make a mistake in front of lots of people. Hi, guys. Human
But
moment.
this is also just a really good example, Lisa, of what we were talking about earlier of like the back and forth interacting. Because it looks like it even spit something out for you.
Yeah.
So now this is another example of going back and revising just based on additional context.
Yes. And then I'm also going to say, also, the hiring manager's name is Paula. Double check me on that. Make sure I didn't hallucinate that myself. Paula, yes. Okay, so her name is Paula. All right, so now we should be, okay, now there we go. So I haven't even read it yet, but it seems a little long to me for a LinkedIn message. But, and I see some M dashes, so it didn't totally listen to that. But I like this part down here where it says like colleagues often describe me as the glue between strategy and creative, blah, blah, blah. So, you know, that's a little different already. And, you know, it should be telling people to go check my LinkedIn Recs, but I don't see it saying that. So that's something I want. Oh, yeah, it does. Feel free to browse my LinkedIn Recs for a clear picture of my approach and impact. Great. So hopefully that drives her to go look at my actual LinkedIn. Okay, so I see some good stuff here. It lets her know I've applied. It lets me, it tells her, you know, I was drawn to the mission, blah, 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 and relates some of my experience, but it just still feels a little long for a LinkedIn message because especially if she opens it on mobile, that's going to be really long. I'm going to say, this is really good, but I think it is a bit too long for LinkedIn. Can you make it a bit more concise? Again, avoid dash punctuation. Okay. Okay, that I feel a little bit better about. So I just applied for the role at Jane and wanted to personally connect. What excites me most about Jane's mission and the chance to drive strategic high impact programs that genuinely is Jane's mission and the chance to drive strategic high impact programs that genuinely improve lives. I've led successful product launches in both medtech and SaaS by connecting insights to action and fostering strong cross-functional alignment. Colleagues often say I bring clarity, care, and creative momentum to every initiative. You can get a sense of how I work through the recommendations on my profile. If you're open to sharing more about what success looks like in this role, I'd love to learn more. So it's a soft ask, but it also lets her know I've already applied. It shares that I'm aligned with their vision and I have, you know, marketable skills to go with it. But it also is subtly letting her know, like, hey, I am good at what I do, but there's also people outside of myself that will say the same. So I feel pretty good about the message. I would probably go ahead and send that. And I thought they nailed it on the subject line. That's going to stand out, especially at a company that's a little bit more mission oriented. So that is probably what I would go ahead and go with and get that sent over. And the thing I will tell you about these messages, a great deal of the interviews I got when I was in the layoff season were through these messages. I ended up going final rounds with several companies, and this was how I did it. The current role I have, this was how I got it, was outreach message to the to the recruiter directly. Sometimes it's the recruiter, sometimes it's the hiring manager, but also finding them on LinkedIn and finding roles like that is often how I got my foot in the door at several different companies, going into final round interviews and things like that. So, and I think Ellen, you can say the same.
Yeah, and I was going to add, Lisa, so I'm in a similar position. Lisa and I are obviously both working at the same company now, but both of us got our foot in the door through these type of outreach. I did have a meeting with someone yesterday who was asking me about like, oh, you message recruiters. Do you do that on everything? Because it can feel really uncomfortable. If anyone is in that space, I would say like one of the things that Lisa and I had discussions as we were kind of on job hunting is that, the worst that happens is that someone either doesn't respond or they say, hey, no, and maybe they tell you why not. But I kind of look at all of those things as that's a form of feedback. So if someone says, hey, we're not sure you're the right fit because of XYZ, well, then great. I just got feedback that's helping me figure out if I see a similar role somewhere else going forward, something I might want to consider in how I tee myself up. Taking that approach of like, it's not personal, is something of like, it doesn't hurt you to reach out. If anything, it shows that you're proactive and you're willing to kind of put yourself out there, which can be a good, desirable quality for a business. As long as you're remaining professional within that process, it never hurts. So the other thing I was going to mention is you can use the same tactic that Lisa was just showing to also reach out to people about networking. I actually had someone contact me recently who was interested in making a career pivot from her current role in kind of project management into more of like a SaaS related role. So really wanting to kind of shift industries that she was working within. And her outreach was really professional. She was very clear in what she was looking for. And so I ended up meeting with her. I put her in touch with someone else from my network. Like it never hurts to just connect with folks that way as well, to ask like, hey, do you have time to grab coffee? Could you do a virtual chat, et cetera, as kind of an additional means of trying to just expand your network.
And we do some events on in partnership with Austin Women in Technology, like every fourth Tuesday, and we have different volunteers that join us. One of them was a C-suite leader, and she shared in the group that was we did a group called Non-Transactional Networking, and in that group, she told them, she said, "Hey guys, reaching out with messages like this," she goes, "it's so great." And she goes, as a person that hires people, she goes, "you'd be surprised how often we don't get that many messages and how it can make you stand out because you're taking that extra step and you're putting in that extra effort." And one extra thing I'll just note, just since we're on it, sending thank you notes. She mentioned that as well. If you get the interview, send the thank you note afterward. You would be surprised how few people do it nowadays. And that can be the thing, like if it comes down to two people, sometimes that's the little thing that gives you the edge. Yeah. She just mentioned it and I wanted to call it out here.
I have a question. I've heard many times that if you find a job on LinkedIn, instead of applying through LinkedIn, you should go to the company website and apply through the website, and still send a message to the recruiter or the hiring manager or whatever. Do you have thoughts on that?
I have done both. I have applied for jobs through LinkedIn and gotten interviews, and I've applied directly through the company. And yeah, I don't think there's a hard and fast rule. Yeah.
I've seen inputs from recruiters on LinkedIn indicating that it's a more sure bet to apply directly through their system. But I really just build on what Lisa just said. I think a lot of it also comes down to the company and how they are managing their applications. And it's hard to know. Are they actively reviewing those LinkedIn easy applies? Are they really only focusing on what's in their system? I started defaulting as a best practice. I would check their website and just apply directly through the website if I could. And if I didn't see, hey, they don't actually have these things posted, then I would use the easy apply. But that was just me.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So we've talked a little bit about kind of personalizing AI prompts by doing things like adding your resume, including recommendations, sharing those assessments. Lisa covered off on that. And really at this point today, we kind of covered off on upgraded resumes, LinkedIn refresh, those outreach templates. Really want to kind of check if there's any additional questions. If we want, we can go back to one of these previous prompts and give everybody a little bit of time. I know we're getting close to the end, but a chance to kind of start to get hands-on and ask any additional questions that kind of pop up in real time as you're kind of working with some of these things, if that would be helpful. And obviously, I mentioned previously, we do have a survey at the end that we would love to kind of share and have an opportunity for folks to give feedback. So I'll pause here again if there's any additional questions. And if not, we can pivot back to one of those prompts that we were sharing if anybody wants to kind of try getting hands-on, and we can chat through questions or feedback that comes up in the process.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, hi. It says tablet, but it's actually Deborah. I'm on twice. Yeah, it's a great presentation. I love the first one and what you guys are presenting today. I know you're heading back to the prompts, and when you do, the one on how you how to phrase or what to instruct AI on how to create a good outreach. Yeah, that's it. I wanted to take a couple notes or screenshot. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can drop these even while I'm thinking about it. I can drop these into the chat so that folks can get to them as well, if that is helpful.
And Ellen, there's one piece missing on that one where you mentioned what you're attaching. So if you want, I have that on my Word doc and I can just paste it all in.
Okay. Yeah, if you'll paste that one in, I'll go to the others and I can drop them into the chat as well so that folks can get to them.
Perfect. Here we go.
I'll leave it on this screen for 1 minute and then I'll go drop the others in as well. For anybody who is screenshotting.
Yeah, I really appreciate this.
Yeah, absolutely. Ooh, and it dropped the text in not in an easily readable format. I got to change the font color. Okay, it's going to come through with a red background. It makes it look more dramatic than it is. I think it's picking up the formatting from this slide. I'll do the next one. Awesome.
And I apologize if anyone hears a crying dog in the background. Apparently the lab has decided to body slam herself into a door that she wants out of.
Awesome.
Fun times.
Has anyone tried any of these or run into issues that they want to kind of talk through real-time troubleshooting while we're all on the line? If not, I can also share a trick that I sometimes use with the extra couple minutes as I'm going through some of these things. Okay, I see someone's trying this out right now on a different chat platform on Grok. One thing I'll show you all that I have found helpful before, let's say that you go through and you give a prompt for something and the output that comes through is just like wildly off, or you think through and say, I don't really want to go back and forth. I just want to edit what I had already put within there. Sometimes if I don't like the response, I might come through and go ahead and click the edit pencil and just rerun the existing prompt that I had done to see if I like the output that comes through better. So let's say in this instance, I had noted like, hey, I'm moving forward with this headline. Maybe later on I decide there's something that I don't want them to mention. So maybe I say like, maybe I'm going to add something in here of like, please do not mention how many years of experience I have. I'm doing something really blatant just so we can see the update. And I'll go ahead and just resend, and you'll see the existing answer that it gave goes away, and it's going to actually revise and it will send something new through. The one risk with this, if you did like something that was in that other one, it's going to go away once this happens. But it's just an example. Sometimes if you get something that's like wildly wrong, you can sometimes look at ways to kind of refine the prompt that you just sent through and edit it. All right. Anyone want to share any examples? If not, I'll go ahead and pivot to kind of that survey and opportunities to connect with us. Cool. Okay, let me go ahead. I'm going to go back into the slideshow. So as I was mentioning, we do have opportunities. If y'all would like to connect with us on LinkedIn, we are more than happy to connect. If you have follow-up questions in the future going forward, or you're looking into something and have a quick question, please feel free to reach out. And then that QR code that's all the way to the right for CoLabX is a survey for today's session. We would love if you can give us feedback. We are trying to provide these types of opportunities or presentations to job seekers going forward. So feedback is valuable in that process for us to kind of help refine some of the information that we're sharing, if there's anything that we can do better going forward, or even just topics that you're interested in learning about in future sessions. We would love to hear that type of feedback. So thank you again, everyone, for both the engagement, the questions today, and we can stick around if anybody has any additional questions that kind of pop up. Awesome. Thanks, everyone.
If we go into that QR code that takes us to your CoLabX, is the survey is on there?
Yeah, so it should just open up the survey. It's a Google survey that we take a look at results coming out of presentations for us to just refine and try to optimize these types of things going forward.
When I went into it, it takes me to create an account. Do we need to create an account?
It should not be doing that.
Oh,
that is strange.
Maybe I made a mistake somehow.
Now I'm testing it because I'm paranoid. We had tried to do it before, but it might just be that it's not loading. It loaded for me.
Okay.
It should be loading. We can also drop a link in there into the chat. I'll do that.
Yeah, it worked for me as well, just so FYI.
Huh. Okay. Interesting.
Lisa, Ellen, oh my gosh. We can't thank you enough. I mean, this is number 2. I'm looking for number 3. I'm looking forward to that one. And your presentations are so insightful. And I love that we're going to be your AI when it comes to the suggestions. So we'll see if we can help refine your presentation going forward. I think it's fine. I mean, even the dog is fine. You know, just keep her around. So, ladies, thank you. Kathy, if you have anything else to add, please do.
Nothing except this is so very generous for you to share your time and your expertise. The presentations are so informative and immediately usable. I cannot tell you how much we appreciate this. I cannot wait for the third part, but this is such a valuable resource, and I just love you both for sharing it with us.
Awesome. And I just saw feedback that the prompts worked on Grok. So that's awesome to hear. It's always good to kind of see how things transfer over into the different LLMs. So if anyone else has been experimenting with that one, things to just be aware of. Cool. All right.
Thank you both. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, everyone. Take care.
Thanks, everyone.